Good morning, Ugly Mug marketing friends and followers. Welcome to another edition of Ugly Mug Marketing Coffee Chats, the live show where we drink our coffee and we chat about business, marketing, leadership, and everything in between. My name is Hannah Ballia, and I am the Director of Communications and Teaching here at Ugly Mug. And today I'm excited to be sitting down with our marketing coordinator, Lily. Lily is, like I said, one of our marketing coordinators, but she is a QR code guru. And Lily has been on our team for about a year and a half now. And in her role, she manages all of the marketing for several small to medium sized organizations all across the country, from social media advertisements all the way to billboards and print materials. Lily is truly a wealth of knowledge. And I'm really excited for y'all to just get a little bit of wisdom, some nuggets of information from her today, all about QR codes and how to successfully use those in your marketing starting today, y'all. So, welcome back to Coffee Chats, Lily. It's not your first time
Hi.
here.
No, it's actually like my third or fourth time because I, like Hannah and Heather in the office, love talking. So love being here and talking all the time. I wanted to include, because I don't know if Wayne's going to ever rewatch this, but I'm also the funniest person in the office, not him. And yes, and it's crazy to think that I've been here for a year and a half now because sometimes it feels like it's been 10 years and sometimes it feels like it's been like a week. So, but it's
Yeah,
great all the time.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Well, tell us what you are drinking this morning because I know you changed up
So
your coffee order.
yes. Typically, I will go to Tamp and Grind because it's right across the street. But this morning, I had a little bit of extra time on my drive to work. So I went to Camericano, which is where we went last time Hannah and Alex were in town for our birthday party, which is another small local coffee shop, which I hate to tell y'all this, but they're always the best coffee shops, like the local ones where you're like,
Yes.
you never know what's going on. Or like the barista, like you can look at a barista and you're like, that's going to be a really good cup of coffee that she's making.
Yes.
Um, so Camericano, it's in Pineville. Their owners are really good friends with Weather and Hayne is what I call them. Heather and Wayne, our owners. And so when we went, that was my first time going, and I've probably been 10 times since then, and that was literally just in February. So this is a Teddy Graham iced latte. Um,
Um,
I don't know, I got it last time, and it's literally the best thing ever. So that's what I'm having
nice.
today.
I love that. I am drinking a Miel, which is a latte essentially that has honey and cinnamon in it. And it's my absolute favorite. And for whatever reason, I rarely find these, like this specific drink, anywhere outside of West Michigan. So if you're a coffee shop outside of West Michigan and you have a Miel, amazing. But I got mine from Drip Coffee, which is located downtown Zeeland, Michigan, which is where I'm from. I'm in Zeeland. I'm in West Michigan today, which is super exciting. Um, and yeah, I absolutely love this drink. I think I like researched it a little bit one time, and it's like a Spanish, like after dinner coffee is how it originally
Hmm.
started. So if you go to a coffee shop and you see a Miel, let me know what coffee shop you were at.
Let
I
Hannah
don't
know.
care where across
I
the
want to
country.
say
Let me know.
I want to I want to say there is a coffee shop in Monroe, downtown Monroe, next to one of my clients, which ironically is a client that we're going to be talking about today. But I'm pretty sure they have something. If it's not, I don't think it's called that, but it sounds like it has the same kind of ingredients or make of it,
Okay.
which wouldn't surprise me because they also have Vietnamese coffee. So they're not just like it's not just like your normal everyday like coffee. They have
Yeah.
definitely like switch it up. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's Parish is the name of it there.
Oh,
So I'll have to look that up and let you know. That way, next time you're in town, you can take a little drive to the great city of Monroe. But
yeah. Love
I
that.
also wanted to say, sorry, my favorite thing about talking about QR codes as we get into this is that since working here, everyone has like their thing. Hannah Broom is like the event coordinator, email marketing guru. Abby, Pinterest guru. And I'm like, I want to be a guru of something. And it wasn't until like last week I was like, I'm a QR code guru. That is what I'm going to start calling myself. And so that is my new personality is the QR code guru
QR
because
code
of
guru.
my viral reel that happened that's still to this day blowing up. So
Yes, it is. And I actually want to go back and look at that reel. Because we're going to
and see
talk
what
a
you
little bit about
did.
it. Yeah, and well, I'm still trying to figure out what is going on with that reel. I'm convinced it's just anything that has Lily's face on it pops off on TikTok and on Instagram Reels. So Yeah, I can't figure anything out. Lily's just going to be the
Yeah.
face of Ugly Mug Marketing now.
It
Sorry, Wayne.
Yeah,
And
it just like almost hit. It's like close to 30,000 views, over 1,000 likes. It's brought in like half 1,000 followers, and I'm just
yes,
like mind-boggling. Which crazy that those metrics can even be like told to us. That's the amazing part, is how much analytics has grown over the years. But yeah, that one
totally.
just popped off for sure.
Totally. Well, let's just go ahead and dive in.
Oh, I have to talk about one thing that I'm loving lately because it's Mr.
Yes, I
Flash.
know. I was like, y'all, for those of you who've been on here before, I'm like, Lily's been here a year and a half. I already said that. But I had like two other questions for Lily to answer. One of them was, what made you choose a career in marketing? And the second question was one thing that you're loving lately, but Lily came with three. So we're
Yes.
just going to get a full tree of three things Lily's loving
Yeah.
lately.
So I actually love how I ended up becoming and getting my career in marketing, because it's so untraditional, which I feel like is what happens to a lot of young people these days. Like, you're going into college and you're like, what the heck am I going to do? I have no idea. I always wanted to do something in the journalism business realm, but was convinced to go in like a science realm because those are the monies, that's where the money is, blah, blah, blah. So my undergrad degree is actually in speech pathology, which I was 3 months from graduating when both COVID hit, and I realized that I did not want to be a speech pathologist in the
Oh,
slightest. I have so much respect for them, spent so much money on that degree, simply would not be me going forward. So I went and got my master's in business online through Louisiana Tech, so I could do another year of sports. And I was actually working full time in property management at the time. And I actually got to dabble in a lot of like graphic design work, like using Canva, creating t-shirts, like that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, I like kind of really enjoy this. And so I started working as a virtual assistant for one of my sorority sisters that I met via a Facebook group, doing like her blog post for her website. So that's kind of how I got jump started into marketing. And then I moved back home to Alexandria from Indiana, and was sitting at Tampa Grind, looked across the street, saw Ugly Mug Marketing, didn't think anything of it. The building did not look like it does today.
yeah.
But a friend of mine messaged me that Ugly Mug was hiring, and I was like, okay, let me apply. And then 6 months later, I got the job, but I've never stopped being obsessed with them. So that is what made me choose my career in marketing. And like I say to every single person, Wayne will have to drag me out of here by my ears if he wants me to ever go anywhere. And
Same.
then
I tell everyone I'm going to die at Ugly Mug Marketing.
no, if anyone actually is going to die at Ugly Mug Marketing, it's not going to be Wayne. It's not going to be Hannah Balliet. It's going to be Hannah Broom. Right here, over here, where that desk is, gone. That is literally where that lady is going to take her last breath. So I don't like, yeah, I love it that much. Hannah Broom is like Ugly Mug Marketing. She's
Yeah.
the guru of Ugly Mug Marketing. So,
She really is.
and then the three things that I've been loving lately, because you make me talk about it every single time, is Mr. Flash, my golden retriever that I adopted on my birthday last year. He is the gooderest boy that's ever existed on the planet. And no one can tell me any different. Whether he plays in the pond with all the mud right after getting groomed, it's fine. He's perfect. And then other things I'm loving are some new hobbies, which are golf, and then creating like door hangers, painting, and like I just did one for my mom that was St. Patrick's Day themed, and it was so much fun. I don't consider myself very talented when it comes to like painting things, but for some reason I popped off on that one. I'll just send you a picture. But
Love
yeah,
it.
that's what I've been into lately.
I love that. Well, everyone is here today to hear us chat and have a little virtual coffee with us. I see Jenna is joining us. She said, good morning. Hi, Jenna. I can't wait to.
Hi.
I'm actually meeting with Jenna tomorrow, I think.
Oh, perfect.
So,
Hi,
Jenna,
Jenna.
excited to chat with you tomorrow. And then we also have Lauren watching too. And she said, excited
Lauren.
to learn from y'all. So,
Yes.
awesome. Let's dive into all the things. First thing is give us a quick overview of what a QR code is. If anyone like kind of needs that like initial like learning, you can go back and watch Lily's previous coffee chat on QR codes. This is kind of like the next level of that QR code conversation, but I still wanted to give you just a couple minutes here to like briefly explain what a QR code is, how it works.
For sure. So QR code, we all know them. We all love them. They became really, really big in 2020 with specifically like restaurant menus and just different avenues that you could take so that you weren't having to touch physical items. So QR code stands for quick response code, and it's exactly what it says it is. It's a quick response, scanning it with your phone. And I love to share this fun fact because ever since I found out about it, it made you realize that one specific moment in time can quite literally change the future for the smallest thing. So QR codes were actually created back in 1994, which means they're only about 4 years older than I am. And so they're about 29 years old, or I guess they'd be 30 years old now, depending on what day and time they were born. But they were actually created back in 1994 for a Japanese company so they could track vehicles during their manufacturing process, which to this day, you can look on a car and you can find QR codes when it comes
Oh,
to like
interesting.
VIN numbers, different things like that. I don't know specifically, but I know like there's some like use for tire aspect. I don't know. I'm not a car girly. I just have seen them before. My stepdad, I texted him this morning and said, "Hey, my oil needs changed. I'll send you the money." Yeah, I don't worry about that. And then another great thing about QR codes, which is just another fun fact that I wanted to share, is the functionality in any direction. So you can have a QR code and you can have it on a flyer, turn your flyer upside down, and I scan it, and it's still going to scan to the exact same landing page, even if you had it the other way up. So I think that's just like a really cool fun fact about QR codes, and the fact that they are so functional. Even in that aspect, it's like I could have a QR code, you could accidentally place it upside down and it doesn't matter as long as that landing page is correct. However you scan it is how it's going to scan, which is a really fun fact, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And you didn't mention that in our last chat. So
Well,
good new information here.
I found that out in between then and now. So I try to place all my QR codes up the correct way. So unfortunately, I've never like tested it out myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I just found that out. So
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously, we're talking about QR codes. And I think that examples are super helpful for people to see how other companies or other organizations are actively utilizing them beyond, hey, I'm at a restaurant and I'm clicking to view a menu, which is can be actually really helpful. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later. If you have a pixel on your website and being able to track that information, so much good stuff. And maybe restaurants or people that have menus in general and are using QR codes for that purpose, maybe they're not taking full advantage of that. But I wanted you to talk to us a little bit about your client that's in Monroe and how tell us a little bit about them, what they do, and how you are utilizing QR codes for them. Because I think what you're doing is really, really good. And it could be transferable to a lot of different industries and people who are using more tangible marketing tools like,
yeah.
like flyers or trifolds or whatever it may be. So tell us a little bit about this client.
Yeah. And in this day and age, like you said, people are starting to use more tangible collateral items because everyone is online. Like you have to stand out in some way, shape, or form, which is why we are so big on like sending direct mail, is because you have to stand out from the crowd. So like anyone can be online, but how you get to people has to be like unique, I feel like these days. So like Hannah says, my client is the Children's Coalition for Northeast Louisiana, and Brittany, Christy, if you guys are watching this, I love them so much. I just started working with them in January. And I actually reached out to them using direct mail. So that was a really cool, interesting like experience to have with them to show that my direct mail with them worked. But I love working with them. They cover 12 parishes total of Northeast Louisiana. So like Lincoln Parish, Morehouse. And if you're not from Louisiana, a parish is just a county. We're just the cool kids. I think Alaska also calls them parishes. Don't quote me on that, but we're like the only ones. So I think I've always told people that. So if that's wrong, then I've been lying.
Somebody
for my whole life.
fact check us and tell us in the comments.
Right. So they cover 12 parishes, and then 5 of their parishes, they cover the pre-K enrollment. So pre-K, if you're not familiar, typically it's like the first step of education other than like early childhood education. So the first step, like in an actual school. So their target audience for this pre-K enrollment would be a family that resides in one of the 5 parishes that they cover for pre-K, a total household income that's a maximum of X amount of dollars, and they have at least one child in their home turning 4 on or before September 30th. And so having this target audience is, first of all, the biggest help when doing any kind of marketing, but specifically for the marketing that we want to do for them. So we were looking at the families and what is the best way that we can get in front of them? What is the best way we can meet them where they are? Because specifically, if you look at early childhood education, early childhood networks, you are looking at a different like classification of families. So typically these would be like lower income families, maybe like parents that have to work two jobs, families that maybe don't have access to a computer all the time. So we definitely want to make sure that we can reach these families where they are, because they and their children 100% definitely deserve the education that is available for them, especially when the education is low cost or free, just due to like state funding. So we want to make sure that we get in front of every single family, meet them where they are, no matter what their circumstances are. And so some of the things that we've done for them have been like, we've done flyers for each one of the 5 parishes, a billboard, and then 2 postcards. And so with those 8 things, we really want to make sure that like we're tracking them. But how do you track them if there's not like Facebook analytics? There's no Google analytics. There's nothing that's like, hey, so-and-so got your postcard in the mail, like ding, especially when you're sending it to 5,000 different families.
Yes.
And
it's expensive. Like
yes,
it's expensive.
It's an investment.
It's an investment to get all of that printed, designed, printed, postage. I'm like, it's a big deal to be sending out that amount of postcards and to just not know if that specifically worked or is what brought people in. Yeah,
exactly. So we created those. We've had these 8 different avenues. I mean, now ever since I've started working with them, we have probably a ton more of just like random marketing items that we'll throw a QR code on that has a landing page. And when I say throw, we're being very diligent about how we're tracking and marketing these. And we'll talk about this later about like investing in a paid account so that you can create multiple QR codes. So that's another thing, is like all the 5 flyers have different landing pages. So they all have 5 different QR codes. Whereas the billboard and the 2 postcards, they all have the same landing page, but they still have 3 individual QR codes. So for the 1 billboard and the 2 postcards, they're going to their generic early childhood, pick your parish, XYZ. But I'm able to tell on my end that when someone scans the billboard, someone scanned the billboard. When someone scanned one of the postcards, I know exactly which postcard they scanned. And that is the most important part if you're going to be tracking multiple different things. Because if I were to put the same QR code on all 3 of those, when it comes to future marketing, I'm just going to have to redo this all over again, because I don't know which one worked. I don't know which one didn't. If I put them all on the same QR code and I have like 1,000 scans, I'm like, man, my marketing is really working. When in reality, 900 of those scans could come from the billboard and only 100 came from the 2 postcards. And so I'm wasting my client's time, my client's money on these postcards, when really billboard was the way we should have gone in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, it creates this opportunity to almost have a little bit of a split test. I mean, depending on, there's a lot of different factors though too, like are we reaching the exact same people through all of these different methods? But if you are, that's an excellent way to split test and figure out what are people actually responding to, because to your point, you don't want to waste your clients' money. Or for those of you that are tuning in and watching, maybe you're just like, we're doing this for us, right? Like I'm not doing this on behalf of a client. So I don't want to waste my money or my resources. And I want to be really intentional about where I'm investing my marketing dollars so that I can get the biggest return or the most bang for my buck, so to speak. And so, I think that's all so good. And especially talk to us a little bit more about creating these unique QR codes for each, or creating multiple QR codes, because I know that in your reel that we published back in February that we mentioned is still popping off. Y'all go give it a view on our Ugly Mug Marketing Instagram account if you want to. But one of the questions in there, I believe, was specific to how do you create multiple QR codes and, paid account versus free account, and also like what platform should people be using, do you recommend for creating these different QR codes?
Yeah. So I specifically use, it's called QR code generator, and it's powered by Bitly. So if you've ever used a Bitly account to create like a short link or to customize a backlink, it's the same company. Ultimately, it's just called QR code generator. I've been using it ever since I've been at Ugly Mug, honestly, just because I found that I had so many clients using QR codes, whether it was for a poster, to a landing page to buy tickets, or if it was to just like fill out a contact form from a rack card. Like I wanted to be able to track them and not just give them these random QR codes, because you can get a generic QR code account, not paid, and create a QR code, a standard black and white QR code, and you can still track a few of the measurements, but again, you're not able to create multiple QR codes, to my knowledge, without having that paid account. And another thing is whenever you do have the paid account, they're more customizable. So I know with QR code generator by Bitly, if you have a non-paid account, you're going to have that little Bitly like mark in the bottom
their
corner.
logo is going to be
Yeah, which is I completely understand that. I have had people ask, they're like, well, I just hate that it's there. And I'm like, honestly, Bitly is, doing their thing. They're making their money, and that's it. Like, that's just how they have to do it. Because if they were all free, then all the QR code generators would be free. Like, there'd be no competition. So I highly recommend investing in the paid account if you are tracking multiple different things. And so another thing is being able to customize them to fit whatever marketing project or campaign you have going on. So whenever I create for Children's Coalition for Northeast Louisiana, I'm able to customize the colors. I can put their logo in the middle. We have customizable QR codes for Ugly Mug that we put on a bunch of different things. And it just kind of makes you stand out a little bit, especially if your marketing material at the time is just, say it's just a regular flyer, a regular poster. There's really like nothing like crazy going on, but then you just have this like bright hot pink, has like a little octopus in the middle. Like, that's going to entice people to want to scan it if you have like a more generic poster, or if you have like a very crazy outgoing poster, having that simple QR code at the bottom. So just kind of like testing out what's working for your target audience. And even you can do A/B testing that way too, creating the same two designs, putting two different QR codes to the same landing page and seeing, do people attract more to this black and white QR code with a fancier background, or do they like the more generic poster with the customized logo in the middle, colorful? Like, what attracts your clientele more or your target audience more? So that's another really good thing about having, investing in a paid account for sure.
Yeah. That's all really good information, because sometimes people think, oh, I'll just do the free one, or I'll do, this random whatever company that has a QR code generator or whatever. So yeah, I think having like your feedback on using Bitly versus maybe someone else, and then the ability again to split test and to kind of take that, like, what is that called? A watermark? The Bitly watermark.
Oh, yes.
And really
I could not think.
I know, I couldn't either. I was like, yes, I know what you're talking about. But the watermark, like having that removed, being able to just have a more like professional presence with it. Not that the Bitly mark makes it not professional looking, but to be able to customize it to your specific brand, I think is really cool.
And
so
I want to talk one more thing about the billboard, because if it's kind of like, if anyone has like a QR code on their website, that typically always makes me like giggle a little bit, because people, if they're on your website already, they're typically not going to scan a QR code because they might already be on their phone. It's just, in my opinion, not the best avenue. And I know a lot of people agree. If you have one on there, keep it up there, because guess what? If you're tracking it, then it might be working for you. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying I don't typically do it. So when it comes to the billboard, I was talking to my client and I was like, is this billboard in a place where if someone were to pull out their phone and scan it, like, are they going like 65 miles an hour down the highway? Because in billboards in my head, I'm going to Leesville and you have all these billboards, but I'm also going 65 miles per hour down the highway. And I don't want to be the reason someone's scanning a QR code and, crashing on the side of the road. But she did let me know this billboard is at a 4-way stop. There's like a Sonic, a McDonald's, like all these restaurants nearby where like people are outside with their families. Again, it's at a busy 4-way stop. So typically you're stopped for quite a long time. And I was like, okay, as long as we aren't putting people in danger, then I can go with that. And so the great thing about that is like, when you have a billboard, people are passing it by, they're seeing it. They can tell you how many times on average a car is going to see your billboard whenever they're selling it to you. And so the great thing about having that QR code on there is that, she'll ask me how many people have scanned it, and I'll be able to tell her like, hey, it is working. Hey, it's not working. Whereas if we didn't have that QR code on there, we'd be like, don't know if it's working, but it's an investment, I guess, So my suggestion that if you are going to put it on a billboard or anything that's like where people are driving, just like be mindful of the area that you're putting it in, and that you're not putting it on the highway. Because I just don't know if that would be like the smartest thing, and I don't want you to be responsible. So I just wanted to throw out that disclaimer there. So
But that's such a, I mean, we're not here today to talk about billboards, but that's also an excellent point just in general about billboards. Like, how fast are people driving? How busy of a traffic area? Like, what types of restaurants or things or attractions are around it that people
Mhm.
might be stopping and then being able to like take a better look at it rather than just like
Right.
cruising by and not really paying any attention
Right.
or mind to it. So
Yeah. Like if I'm going
that's not
75
what we're
down
here
the
to talk
highway,
about today, but
yeah.
that was good.
Yeah. If I was going like 75 down the highway and I see a lawyer's billboard and it literally is just their phone number with them in front of it, I'm like, that's a great tactic. Cause normally it's like 222-2222. And I'm like, brilliant billboard. But if I have to like sit there and read it and we're going 75 down the highway, might not be the best spot for our billboard. But again, not here to talk about that, but we could in the future
Yeah.
talk about billboards.
Yeah, we could. I see someone, well, first of all, not to totally derail us, but a couple people have said, two people have come back and they've said, here to report the news on Alaska having parishes. Apparently they have boroughs.
Gotcha.
And somebody else mentioned that too. TR
Okay.
mentioned that, Joel. So thank you for doing the research, coming back to
Yes.
us. Boroughs, not parishes,
But not
but
counties.
but also not counties. So you were
So
you were basically
half
right.
right. Well, I've told everyone my whole entire life that they also use parishes. So to everyone that I've ever told that, my apologies. But I'm corrected now. I'm an educated queen, so I'll change my stance from now on.
But on the topic of QR codes, somebody said we use Linktree because we want to use their landing page. Does Bitly also have an option to use a landing page they provide? Oh, so like having like a Bitly page. I mean, I suppose you could use your QR code to drive to a
Linktree,
Linktree.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could do that.
I'm not sure about Bitly have anything. I don't know if you're asking if they have anything similar to a link tree,
Yeah.
but one of our interns actually used my Bitly QR code generator account to link their link tree to a QR code, and which someone scans it and then the link tree pops up, just as if you were to click the link like on an Instagram page or something. So I'm not sure if they have a link tree, comparison, but I know that you can for sure link your link tree to that QR code from Bitly.
Yeah, so if you were utilizing that on a postcard or whatever, then you could drive people there, and then it could have those multiple options because within Linktree, if you have the paid account, you can then see who's clicking on what
Which, yeah,
particular, button that you
yeah.
have or wherever you're trying to drive traffic to.
Mhm.
Um, I also see Bobby said, um, "I'd love to add how we add a QR code, that is a link to a 5-star review, and linking them directly to being able to leave a review on Google. That's another great way to utilize QR codes. What if you're not directing them directly to your landing page or some sort of sign up form or anything like that, asking people to scan the QR code and then go and leave your review is a really great way to get reviews and another place that you can drive people
Yeah.
utilizing those QR
No.
codes.
And I get what Bobby's saying. Instead of driving someone just like your Google page is actually like
Mm,
if you have access to the Google or the business profile, getting the actual link to the review. That way, when someone scans your QR code or clicks on the link, it pops up as like leave a review now. Like they don't have to go in, press review, write a
mhm.
review, and then do it. Like it just pops up directly to the bubble and they type that way. So like making it
Yes.
really easy and convenient for them.
Yes, less friction for the customer. I can't tell you how frustrated I get sometimes, like, even on Facebook, when I see a shirt, maybe I'm looking at a carousel ad and I see a shirt that I like and I click on it and I want it to take me to the shirt. But
Yes.
instead, it takes me to the entire page collection. I'd imagine it's the same thing if somebody sees a poster for concert tickets at a particular venue and they scan a QR code and it takes them to all of the shows, maybe at that concert venue, rather than the
Right.
tickets for that particular
Yes.
show. Like, we want to be really mindful of that too, because when we're utilizing QR codes or running Facebook ads, but we're not talking about Facebook ads right now, but when we're utilizing those QR codes, we want to take people directly to where we want them to go so that it is as easy and as simple as possible for them to take the action, ultimately for us to make that conversion happen a lot easier on their
Yeah.
end, right? So whether that's buying a concert ticket, signing your kid up for pre-K, leaving a 5-star review, whatever it is that we want them to do, our QR codes need to take them directly to that place. not somewhere else where they then have to click around or whatever. We want to take them directly to the place.
Yeah.
If it's simply like, hey, I want to learn more information about pre-K, maybe we're sending them directly to the pre-K page. And there could be some other options and buttons for them to click on there, right? But we're still sending them to that pre-K specific page, not just to the website in general.
And I will, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
I was going to say, like, I don't know, Target does not care about how much money they've missed out on me, but Target and their carousel ads have missed out on so much money for me because I'm like, if I click on your ad for this thing that I saw, I don't want to go to your homepage because then I have to type in the little description that I saw. And at that point, I don't even want it anymore. So y'all can keep it.
Too much work. We live in a society where Amazon 2-day shipping almost is not fast enough anymore.
The fact that I ordered from Old Navy yesterday and it still has not shipped is grinding my gears. I'm like, Jeff Bezos would never.
Absolutely. I feel the same about Lululemon lately. I'm like, what is this tracking? They're like, oh, we ship using this. I'm like, why isn't this just UPS or whatever? And
it's like estimated arrival date. I'm like, I don't want the estimated arrival date. I want the date. When will it be here?
Right?
Yes.
And I think that QR codes are such a great way to kind of feed into that, like, hey, I want it now, because people don't want to search. Sometimes they don't want to be taken to a homepage. They just want to be taken to whatever it is that they're seeing right then and there and easily be able to do it. And I think QR codes have become such an innate part of society ever since COVID. Like, it's crazy to think about the fact that QR codes have been around since the year that I was born. And I'm like, I really feel like I never paid too much attention to QR codes until COVID hit, and you would go to a restaurant or you would pull up somewhere and you would have to pick up your phone and scan the code and do the things. And it has just become something that we see and we know exactly what to do with it. And so kind of building, people already know what to do with it, depending on your target audience, of course. And so being able to provide that for people as an easier way to, again, drive that conversion is great.
Well, that also goes back to like the Children's Coalition or my other client, Washington Parish. Like, you're wanting, like, if your target audience is busy parents, they're busy guardians, like I said, lower income. So maybe they work a couple of different jobs. Maybe they don't have access to a computer, like making it as easy as possible for them. That way that their children and future generations are able to get the schooling and the education they deserve that's out there for them is the most important thing. So like, I take everything that I do for all my clients very serious, but specifically for these two, I'm like, how do we meet these parents, these guardians, where they are, so that their children can benefit in the end of it, because that's what we're doing this. So if it's creating 8 different QR codes across 8 different things, that's what I'm going to do, because at the end of the day, it's not about how easy I want my life to be. It's about how can I help other people have these resources that are available to them in the easiest way possible.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point for marketing to your target audience in general, no matter what industry or type of organization that you work for. You really have to deeply know and understand the life of your audience and of your prospective customer, so that, like Lily said, you can meet them where they're at. One of our clients, Wildwood Pizza, we used to run an ad for them that for their family meal that people could just drive up and pick up. But we would run that ad particularly while parents were in the carpool line picking their kids up at school, and we're probably going to have to run one kid to baseball and the other kid to gymnastics. And we would use language and tell that story because that's who we were targeting for that family pack. And we understand that they're busy and that they don't have time to cook dinner and they don't want to do the dishes. And, like, understanding your target audience can allow you to market to them in the right way, but it can also creates this whole other realm of, I can create copy and write in a way that really connects with them, that they're gonna read that ad or see that postcard and they're gonna be like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Yes, that is me. That's for me specifically. Before we jump off, I know we're slightly over time, and but we have people still tuning in and listen to us ramble. But I just wanted to quick touch on key metrics that we should be watching for on our QR codes in order to determine success, or just talk to us a little bit about those metrics for QR codes.
I also think moving forward, we should just know that our coffee chats are going to be like 45 minutes to an hour. That's just how it is. So some of the key metrics that you can scan or that you can measure with QR codes, number of scans. Again, that's the importance of having the multiple different ones so you can see which avenues are working, which marketing collateral is working, conversion rates and ROI. So how many people are actually going to your website and purchasing, how many people are, clicking on and joining your newsletter list, different conversions in that aspect. And then another one that is important is location and time. So if I have a billboard up in a specific, well, billboards have to be in specific areas, but if I have a billboard up and people are scanning that billboard, I can see exactly where they're coming from, or not exactly, like it's not that specific, but it tells me what general area that they're in. If I'm sending it to, again, the postcards to the different areas, I can see, well, if someone in Rapides Parish scanned it, then maybe that postcard didn't go to the right person. Maybe it didn't go to the right place. So I'm able to kind of track it in that aspect. So I think those are some really cool key metrics to track with QR codes.
Yeah. And if someone's watching this and they're like, okay, I'm feeling inspired, we can put it on billboards, we can put it on postcards, we can have different QR codes going in different places. Amazing. But what are 3 steps that someone could take to start using QR codes today?
One, and we've already talked about it, investing in a paid account. That is my biggest link of advice, is to invest in a paid account. If you have that resource there and it's available to you, there's just a plethora of things that you can do with a paid account that you just can't do with a regular one. Again, even as such as like customizing the logo, being able to make as many as you want or as many as you need in order to accurately track each individual marketing collateral that you have. A second step is using them on marketing material that is not easily trackable. So not just assuming that your marketing material is working just because it's what you've always done. What you always do is not always going to work. Otherwise, you would be like, if you have pre-K enrollment and your numbers aren't where they need to be year over year, well, then something needs to change. And the only way that we can accurately do that in this day and age is tracking the marketing material. So using them on marketing material that's not easily trackable, flyers, posters, billboards, things that aren't Facebook ads that you can already see analytically. And then the last step, which we've also talked about a lot, is learning your audience and determining like what action you want them to take when they scan your QR code. And that all goes back to whenever someone scans it, is it scanning and going directly where they need it to go? Is it easily accessible for them, or is it even landing in the right page? And then to go back to like investing in a paid account, I wanted to mention this, is another perk of that one is being able to change the landing page of a QR code. So if you are learning your audience, determining what actions you want them to take and scan their code, if you for some reason need to change your QR code direction somewhere, like say you update a website, say you no longer utilize that email platform and you have like a QR code that leads to your newsletter sign up. Well, at one point you were using Constant Contact, now you're using MailChimp, but I have all of these newsletter flyers out everywhere that says scan to join our newsletter list. Well, if you have a trackable or a paid account, you're able to go in and change that landing page and not have to change any of your marketing materials that you already have out for it because you're just changing the landing page. So I wanted to really mention that because that's another perk of having a paid account, and then also being able to like meet your audience where they are and not having to create and waste more money or time on other materials.
Yeah. Okay. So to recap those 3 steps, number 1 was having a paid Bitly account in particular so that you can customize, excuse me, and have all of that tracking capabilities. Step number 2 was to know your target audience.
Using them on marketing material that's not easily trackable.
Yes. So whether that is your traditional billboard or flyers or whatever, heck, y'all, one time I went somewhere and they had cornhole and they had their QR codes on the cornhole backs. So then you could scan and order a beer or scan and go to their website. I was like, love that. Absolutely love that.
I just got my client custom cornhole boards made. I need to get them custom QR code bean bags.
Yes.
Writing this down immediately.
Yeah. Yep. So being creative in that way too, where can you place them and drive someone to a place that you actually want to send them to? And then step number 3 was deeply understanding and knowing that target audience so that you can serve them well. And then Lily told us some really great information about, hey, if you already have that QR code connected to maybe MailChimp, but you switch to Constant Contact or vice versa, you can go in and just change where that QR code is directing people so you don't have to reprint materials. I think actually on our last one too, another idea for folks is on a step and repeat or a backdrop for your company, having a QR code too. There where people might be taking pictures in front of, they can scan that and then go to your company's website or leave you a 5-star review like Bobby mentioned in the comments over here. So
especially if you're using like marketing collateral year over year, say LWAG, for instance, like they're using step and repeats, the same step and repeat, because we're not putting the year on that step and repeat, obviously. But year over year, I know by the end of LWAG, we kind of already have the next year's LWAG kind of already in place. And so you can join the waiting list. So every year over year, we can update that QR code that's on any marketing material that's like, hey, scan here for next year's like newsletter list. So that way you can stay in touch and all that kind of fun stuff. And you're not having to reprint marketing material that just becomes really expensive. So like sometimes investing in that paid account is going to be like way cheaper than having to constantly change out your marketing collateral.
Totally. Awesome. Well, this has been so many good nuggets of new information, fun facts about burrows in Alaska and parishes in Louisiana, and everything that you need to know to get started to utilizing QR codes today. Y'all, you could do all of those things today. Take at least one of those steps. If you've been tuning in, I would challenge you to, whether you're watching live or you're catching the replay, schedule an hour with yourself on the calendar for this week, or maybe even immediately after you get done watching this, and put together a plan of how you can start implementing and using what you've learned today to drive sales for your business, drive 5-star reviews, take people to your landing page to take whatever action you want them to take. There's been a lot of great, helpful information in here today. Lily, thank you so much for spending the last 40 minutes with me and chatting all about QR codes. Next week, we have a really exciting guest, y'all. We're going to have Meredith from Sweet Baton Rouge on next week, Wednesday. She's going to be chatting with us all about building a brand, the journey of entrepreneurship, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, everything in between, the resilience that it takes as you are launching a business and building a brand. Meredith is such a wealth of knowledge in business in general. She is amazing. If y'all haven't heard of Sweet Baton Rouge, go look it up. It's located obviously in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It is a t-shirt company and they are phenomenal. Meredith is someone that I really admire and I'm really excited to have her on next week for all of y'all to learn from her. You can always catch the replay here on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Thank y'all all again for joining us live or catching the replay. We will see y'all next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, as we interview and chat with Meredith from Sweet Baton Rouge. See y'all.
Bye, guys.